Right. So, welcome everybody to the Libra new moon. This new moon has been very powerful. It's like personally, I can genuinely feel like this leading up to today, it feels like everything's been coming to a massive shift. There's been an intense full moon for the Aries full moon on the 6th of October. And today and the last couple of days, it feels like something's shifted, something's softened, something's really like there was incredible intensity around the 6th and leading up to the 6th. And then even afterwards for about a week, I know that for myself, I was wiped out by a whole load of work I was doing and the intensity of it all coming together at the same time. I think that was 3 projects at once and that was pretty full on. So in terms of the softness that's coming through, I think there's quite a different feel. And yeah, mozzies, everybody, we've had rain. That's what I can't say I'm fly swatting. I'd like to say I am, but no, I'm not. I'm mozzie swatting. So being a Libra new moon, this is, I've been reading quite a few posts and it's all about relationships and connections and a new opportunity, I think, to look at what's going on in our world and to start making some big changes. So I did post something in the Facebook event and I read it a moment ago and now I can't remember it. So there you go. It's gone. I've moved on. So Libra, new moon, Libra, balance, relationships, and new moon, of course, is actually can be used for endings and beginnings. And what we're going to do, you know, what we can do with this time is make the most of it to recognize that some things need to come to a conclusion. But also this is also a great time to actually initiate and create new things and get some things started. And yeah, a good time to do all of that. And I'm just continuing to mozzie swat as I try to shuffle the deck here. So yeah, welcome to everybody. For anyone who is watching this video later, these are live recorded videos, so you're very welcome to join us. We ask you to dial in a few minutes earlier so that we can all be together when I kickstart this thing. And I'm going to draw a card for today. And this is a nice one. I'm wondering if the light is okay. It's called Awareness. It's a beautiful card. So yeah, this card's actually really showing to me that at this particular time of the Libra new moon, it's really about awareness and having that, there's a Buddha body inside this figure that's burning its way through the exterior. And it's a bit like looking at that deeper part of yourself and really allowing yourself to go in. And that reminds me of some of the other things I've been reading as well, which is making me chuckle. It's apparently a beautiful time to reflect on your relationships, but also your relationship with yourself is what I'm getting with this particular card. Who are you? What is it that you are really looking to experience in your life? What part of your life needs to be identified and aware, and have awareness brought to it so that it can get the light of day shone on it so that it can thrive? I'm feeling that it's really important that we all do this. There's so many parts to us that are hidden. And that also then brings me to that whole story that's been all over Facebook and Twitter and social media about the Me Too. It's the hidden stuff, the people who don't say anything. Once they do start to speak, even if they're known as the silent majority. And this is not about jumping on a soapbox and having a rant. It's just, you know, it's just saying, yeah, I need to let that part of me be acknowledged. And I'm seeing that here too with this card, this part of us that we don't show very often, that actually really does deserve attention, and it deserves love, and it deserves focus, and it deserves an element of acknowledgement, just to say, yes, I see you. You know, sometimes it doesn't have to be any more than that. And that's just you acknowledging you. You know, I think there's a beautiful message in that for everybody here. It's about recognizing that you don't need to keep those hidden parts so hidden that you can acknowledge it for yourself. You don't have to tell the world, but as long as you see it and you know it's there and you feel safe in acknowledging it for yourself, you know, this is not about pushing past your boundaries and being a rebel and you know, really grandstanding anything. It's just recognizing that there are parts of you that you might hide. And there are probably very good reasons why you hide this part of yourself. But is it time to allow that part of you to be seen and know that it's heard and know that it's recognized and acknowledged, and that may be enough. So I think that's enough for me. Probably said a few things. Oh, what's the time? It's only a few minutes, plenty of time. So I'm going to ask Jody. I'm going to unmute Jody. I'm going to let people unmute themselves. You're unmuted. So if you'd like to share anything, Jody, by all means, it'd be lovely to hear from you.
That's a really interesting card to come up. I actually used the term self-awareness this morning in a post, or in a message, a private message with a woman I had a healing session with last week, and it was about self-awareness, self-recognition, and wasn't acceptance, I don't think, maybe it was, but it was that we're often taught, like we're either actively taught the opposite, as in other awareness, and not to know anything about yourself, and to always be aware of other people, and basically stifle yourself and put everybody else first. Or if a self-awareness is coming up for you, that it's a big noting, grandstanding, selfish, putting yourself first, and there's a whole negative connotation about that. So I see that both of those are equally, equally as well as bad, if you want to call it that, as bad as each other. But I just wish, and I hope, and I suppose because we're bringing light to this stuff now, that it's slowly changing, but self-awareness and just awareness of who you are, what's underneath all of those layers, what's waiting underneath there, waiting to come out either to yourself or to others. And as you say, firstly to yourself, it doesn't have to be on show. Sometimes, though, it's interesting, I also mentioned to her that sometimes it takes other people to see these things in us before we actually will acknowledge them, and they're usually the beautiful things in us, the caring things, the things that we either don't want to see, are scared to see, have been squashing ourselves, I suppose, and I think sometimes it starts with other people seeing that in you, and having people around you that can, I don't know, show that feel comfortable enough to share with you what they see too, what they see in you, how they see you, because we look through so many damaged filters, so many painful filters, so much trauma from family experiences, ancestral experiences. It's really, I think there probably are very few people in the world that aren't living through filters of, one form or another. So being aware of that, though, is a big step. That's the start of it. Then identifying them and starting to take them off and unpeel them and unlayer them and get rid of them is the next step. But I'm finding too that as one is lifted, the next person or event or realization comes to me for the next one. So you just got to start. You just got to take a step down the awareness path. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Jody. And welcome to Nellie. Nellie, I'm just going to unmute you. So where have you joined us from, Nellie?
Hi, I'm in Brisbane.
Oh, lovely. I do kick these off as close to 11 a.m. as possible. So you've possibly missed the beginning of the video, but that's not a problem. What we've done is, I'll just show you the card. This is the card that I drew, and I've done a little reading for it. It's called Awareness.
Ooh.
And it's fundamentally about peeling back the layers and seeing what part of you is ready to have the light shone in your world. And given that this is a new moon, it's a time, of doing this gently and for self. And if you have any thoughts or feelings about the card, you're very welcome to share with the rest of the recording. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's a very appropriate card. I mean, of course it is. And yeah, I mean, this month has been very much about peeling layers, actually, and putting some of the rotten layers in the bin, shall I say?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
it's great.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. So with the readings, I'll just draw this up for you again. What I normally do is have a recording, like it comes in, and I do the reading of the card straight away. So have you got anything else that's that you'd like to share? That, you know, and also, so Jodie just shared quite beautifully about what she's seen the awarenesses around. So do you have any questions?
Not really. I was just this morning because it's the new moon in Libra, right?
That's correct.
And it's associated to the goddess Mat, the Egyptian goddess. And so I did a beautiful meditation with some Egyptian music with the goddess Mat this morning, to connect with the new moon energies, and the goddess Mat. She's the one with the scales, so it's all about balance in life.
Justice, like Libra.
And discernment and awareness, of course. So,
that's
I think there's some really beautiful energies with this new moon. Actually, I didn't have a very good sleep though. I think I was feeling the hype a little bit, but woke up pretty early. But yeah, no, I'm really quite excited, actually. There's a bit of excitement in the air today.
Yes, I fully appreciate what you're saying. What I was feeling and sharing with Jodie earlier was that it feels like after the intensity of the full moon in Aries, you know, a couple of weeks ago, that we've actually the tide has turned and there's something shifted and softened. So it feels like we've turned a corner away from the intensity, but more towards something that's it feels like something is coming through, and it's not forcing its way through. It's just going to present itself in a softer, gentler way. That's what I'm getting about it as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, and also too, coming back to this card, you know, I was saying earlier in the reading that there's it's about recognizing and identifying what parts of you that are enabled or allowed to be have light shone on them, even if you just identify them to yourself. You know, you don't have to soapbox it or grandstand it or make out that you have to proclaim it to the world, because I was likening it a little bit to the Me Too thing that's been flying around social media.
Oh yeah.
You know, because that's had such a massive impact on the awareness of so many people going, my silence has contributed to this situation getting out of control and continuing. And I think that's what I'm witnessing with a lot of the masculine around me. And in this case, it's like there's parts of ourselves that we are allowed to identify and say, yes, I can say that exists, but you know, it can be just to yourself, and that may be all that's necessary. You know, you don't have to strip it all off and run around naked in the street or whatever. Tell the world, yes, me too. You know, that you're not alone when something comes to the surface. You know, and this is a beautiful time to do that time of self-reflection and being gentle with ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
So, I would just also like to say thank you to everybody who's joined the call. So the next gathering is going to be a full moon gathering, and it's going to be on about 2 weeks from now, and it's going to be the Taurus full moon. And so yeah, it was a beautiful reading today, all about awareness. And thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye.